Wow, guys. Welcome to NewWayStories. I'm Jesse. Darius is here. Ben is here.
Yep.
We
made it.
Watched and commentated to the first episode of Bibleman. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint.
No.
It did not. It was as disappointing as I thought it would
If you ever question or were curious why we talk badly about Christian media or shows and movies that we grew up on, this will give you some insight to the trauma. I feel like a lot of times when people are like, I left the church because of fill in the blank trauma, I really am like, that feels like an excuse that like what you're saying. You just like didn't want to go to church anymore, and that's whatever.
Yeah.
But if you were like, listen, man, I was forced to watch Bibleman for the 90s, and I thought, I just don't want to be a part of this anymore. I don't know if there's a higher power. I would be like, yeah, I get it. I get what you're talking about.
What God would allow this?
If he's so good, why is there so much suffering in the world?
Gosh dang you, dang dirty apes. It's just turned into Charlton Heston.
So, okay, that's going to be posted on our YouTube if you want to watch that.
I don't usually say this, but you should absolutely go watch that. That's I think an unmissable.
Absolutely. We're going to post some stuff too on social. But boy, we have all of our episodes up on YouTube now. And so we're going to be doing some bonus content. Let us know if you enjoy it, because we get to do more. Trent Mulvaney suggested that we do it an episode of It Takes a Church, which apparently is a Bachelor style show hosted by Amy Grant, where they take one church's most eligible bachelor and tried to get him to hook up with
try to get him married, set up
married. Well, I was gonna say it's tough to hook up because they immediately introduced the purity stick episode 1.
Is that true?
No, I don't know. They go, hey, we're gonna keep it above board here.
I feel like people should not be seeing anyone's purity stick.
So yeah, maybe that's an option. Maybe we'll watch and do the commentary. I don't know, man. There's like 3 seasons of Bibleman, and I think we might do the entire. TBN's gonna come after us. They're gonna come at us hard, but we're ready for it.
To be honest with you, dude, there is one thing that TBN knows well, and that's fiduciary responsibility.
How to get your money.
Don't underestimate. I mean, we love them. We love them.
Just
They're
don't
the best.
Get us wrong. We love them.
Don't get us wrong.
700 Club.
If I get
we love you. Other people, we love you.
I can't wait to get a cease and desist letter that is signed at the bottom. It's a cease and desist letter, and at the bottom it says, "In Christ, TBN."
So that's okay. So here's the thing, man. I looked up Willie Ames, creator, star in Bibleman.
Yeah.
Which one? Let's give credit where credit's due.
Should we share his mugshot? Just kidding.
He created something, produced, directed, acted in it. He's an auteur, like an M. Night Shyamalan of TBN.
Dude, the Wes Anderson version of Bibleman. That's what we need to do.
That's good. But,
wow, sure was a lot of Bible verses. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't get. I was gonna try to get into my own Wilson, but I can't. So I look. He apparently on his Wikipedia, he left the film industry, is what it says. Left the film industry for like 15 years to be a cruise director.
Oh,
that's cool.
Hey man, when Kate and I did a cruise, I was like, it doesn't work. I think being married unless you like are married to another cruise person. You can get attached to the same cruise if you're married, because you're gone for like 3 months at a time. But
I think that the upper echelon positions on the ship allow you to have family living.
Yeah.
I think the cruise director has like
you have to like apply for it. I watched this whole thing of like cruise.
You thought about it. I thought
the
about
cruise
it too.
life.
You did more
the
research.
last cruise that I did. The cruise director did like this whole presentation on it, which was really funny because these like budding romances always happen. And then you try to like apply through HR and they have to decipher, is this like a cruise fling or are you really each other's soulmates? But you know, a lot.
They have a whole competition. Yeah. It's called Survivor.
Dude, a lot of times, anyway, you can, if you're married and you both have like, you know, it's like cruise director and then, you know, obviously, you know, whatever other, cruise they can get you on the same boat. But not Kate's passion, whatever. And I don't have a master's. I don't have a master's in hospitality.
Holy
dude,
smokes.
yeah, I didn't even realize that this is stuff that you could go to school for. Which, screw you, counselors in high school. You did not pitch any of this stuff to me when you were like, "Hey, you should go to college." I'm like, "Nah, no, thank you." And they go, "Well, don't you want to be like a doctor or a lawyer?" Or an engineer. I was like, no, not at all. And they go, well, okay, like have fun right out of high school. Like you could have said, like, you know, there's a ton of options, you know, like
it's true.
There's schools that you can get a master's in comedy writing. Like you could go to school for that. You could go to school for, you know, a master's in hospitality.
It is super interesting. I'm very glad my life has turned out the way it is. I think that I'm in the right spot that God put me in, but it is just interesting looking at the system because no one told me to go to school for acting. Everyone knew, every teacher, every student knew that that's like what I wanted to do when I was in high school was be an actor. Nobody ever. Mr. Obermiller, who's amazing. I don't know him as an adult.
As a drama teacher.
He was really cool to me as a teacher. He gave me several books that were like geared for professional. Like he just gave them to me. One was written by Michael Caine. It was like, hey, read these. You can be a professional actor. That was no one else was like, you can go to school for acting.
And this
at the University of Washington.
Okay, so so real quick, and this I think is one of the main themes that I want this podcast to drive home. Is that
school sucks.
Like,
stay out of school, kids.
You know, was
that the fiddler I hear? Sorry.
There's just this green cloud that just like, you know, once you watch the episode, you'll know that that's a hilarious joke.
You'll get it. It's a callback.
So you will laugh for once if you knew.
You know what? Actually, just stop listening to this pod right now. Go watch it and then come back.
New Way Stories podcast. New Way, one word. New Way Stories podcast
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
I think when you say any sort of creative element, right? I want to be an actor. I want to be a musician. I want to be a writer, whatever. There's when you have that dream as a kid, you only think you have like to be an all-star or superstar in that category. But there's like totally
entertainment adjacent jobs.
Like you could make a living being a gig player, like a musician, or you can make a living
being a studio
You can
musician.
make a living acting, you know, in commercials or whatever, or like you don't have to be a Brad Pitt to be successful or to make a career out of acting. Same with writing and whatever.
You make $0 or you make $700 million.
No difference.
No in between.
Right? Yeah. So
no difference.
That's the point, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like even with stand-up comedy, right? I've got a gig later tonight. We're recording this on Friday. Getting paid a cool hundo.
Whoa! All right.
Listen, if
I
put
lunch is on you next time.
If I put my mind to it and like actually tried to book myself gigs, dude, I could make $60,000 to $80,000 a year just doing stand-up. Right now, that's not the lifestyle that I want. Like being gone all night, on like four nights a week, or like if you live in Chicago, it's way easier because there's 50 viable options to gig in the city, and then everything else is like an hour and a half drive away. Yakima, there's one viable place to gig. You can go to Seattle, and then everything else is a 10-hour drive away, right? Like it's much harder to do that geographically. Thank you.
Yeah,
all that to be said.
You obviously didn't take them up on that college.
Fuck you, Darius. all that to be said, Willie Ames was a cruise director, Bibleman, and he just look this up for me.
Oh, look it up.
He just got back into film recently, doing a like a Hallmark-esque. I don't know if it's a Hallmark movie or it's a PureFlix movie. I had to, just as a side note, Darius, I want you to feel guilty about this. We were supposed to record this last week, and so I took out a free trial on PureFlix, and Darius...
Oh, you had to pay for PureFlix.
Darius had to reschedule, and it... I got the free trial the day before we were supposed to record, so I could test it out and stuff. And then Darius goes, "Hey, we can't do it." And I go, "Well, looks like I got PureFlix for a month."
So
That'll cost me $9. So really, stand up tonight is I'm making $91.
Making your PureFlix money back. I am.
Okay, so
it's okay. It's well worth it.
Yeah, he was out for a bit.
His Hallmark movie is called The Stepladder of Love.
Dude, I'm looking at some of these PureFlix originals, and here's the deal, man. I'm making fun of them pretty hardcore, but if they want to offer me money to like buy any of my listen, Space Pioneer, it's for sale. Like, if you want to do like a Christian Space Pioneer, like cool.
Do they have stand-up specials on PureFlix? We should start being really nice.
They probably
PureFlix.
do. The big
you.
Christian one is the Mormon-driven Dry Bar comedy, which is through VidAngel, and
classic VidAngel.
So they actually do a pretty good job.
So I think the first kind of like Hallmark was in 2015, Harvest Moon, and then he did Dater's Handbook. Then he did Every Christmas Has a Story.
So is it Hallmark, or is it Hallmark adjacent? Is it
Hallmark
PureFlix?
adjacent?
In the Christmas,
yeah.
In the Christmas movie, does he play the head elf? You guys don't.
No,
like
sorry, I'm trying to
say
it's
really hard.
I think
he tried out for Santa Claus, but they go, "We think you would be much better as like a Bernard character."
Lori, in one movie, he's dating Lori Loughlin.
Who's Lori Loughlin?
She's like a sitcom mom. She's a famous sitcom mom. Who's she in?
Cute. The name rings a bell. I can't place.
Full House.
Full House.
What
was Kirk Cameron in? Growing Pains.
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron was in Growing Pains. He did a crossover episode with Full House.
I'm sure he did. And that's when Lori Loughlin gave her life to the Lord.
She said, "Lord mercy." Okay, what? How many times do I have to get baptized to get a drink of that tall glass of water?
So the last movie he did, it was a short film called The Guardians in 2022, and then upcoming
a Bibleman cameo in The Guardians.
No, it's like a noir style movie. I don't know. And then upcoming, he has he's the Armageddon Road, and he's the Pale Rider. So I don't know what this is.
Let's get him on the pod.
Armageddon
Let's
Road.
get him on the pod.
Oh my gosh, a hapless ex-con is hired to chauffeur a mob boss girlfriend for an evening, only to find his passengers has died of a cocaine overdose and has been possessed by one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Whoa, so this is not necessarily a PureFlix.
Maybe it is. You could do cocaine overdoses on PureFlix. You just have to make sure you point out that they're wrong.
And he plays one of the horsemen.
He's a cool horseman.
Dude, so he's like...
He's turning heel.
Yeah. I like it.
When you say horseman of the apocalypse, is he a centaur?
I hope so.
I'm the fourth horseman.
Dude, that's
of the
really
apocalypse.
funny. I always am on the lookout for good before and after trivia questions. And I just BoJack Horseman of the Apocalypse. That's the answer. I just need to figure out how to get it there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So quick shift. It was a ton of fun for us to watch Bibleman. I hope that you enjoy it.
Fun.
And then get yourself a PureFlix account. They're the new sponsors of the show.
Yep.
It's only $9 a month. It's great. They have a new movie out called
PureFlix.
It's not Bad Influencer.
That's Angel
Bad
Studios.
Influencer would be a better title, but it's this girl who is like super awesome at being an influencer, but then she loses everything.
Returns to her small town.
She loses everything and she's humbled. Divine.
It's Christmas time.
She was canceled. She said the N-word.
Divine influencer. Dude, okay, they changed, just so you know, they did change Pureflix to Great American Pureflix. I wonder who they backed in the election. They go, let's make...
Welcome to Great American Pureflix.
Let's make the American Great Again Pureflix.com.
That's amazing. Oh my...
Welcome to Make America Pure Again. Now remember when I started Pureflix, it was just a budding seedling in the ground of my loins.
I had this great idea for Bibleman. Willie Ames, he was nice enough to voice it for me, but my idea.
I thought it was a munchkin when I met him. I'm 6'4". He's 5'4". I didn't realize people came in that size, but they do. They really do, and a lot of them voted for me. A lot of them are tired of the Joe Biden economy.
Imagine 2028. He leaves office. He starts up Bibleman again and casts himself in the role.
Bro,
He's Bibleman.
like an 80-plus-year-old Bibleman. It's like Bibleman
Proverbs
Beyond.
35.
He's taking on a young apprentice.
Instead of lightsaber fighting or praying, he just makes fun of them.
Proverbs 35:35 says, Sheba did about one do. I'm the better one. You're the worst one.
Oh, man. So, okay, shifting gears slightly. I just feel like I'm compelled to mention it. David Lynch died yesterday. When you're listening to this, it was last week, mid-January. And David Lynch created Twin Peaks. He also is the director of Eraserhead. He's the first Dune movie.
The one with Timothy Chalamet?
No, the one with Yakima's own Kyle MacLachlan.
Let's get him on the pod.
Dude. That would be like a huge win. It's number 1 goal, Kirk Cameron. Number 2 goal, Kyle MacLachlan. That would be sick.
Oh, that'd be so nuts.
I think
I would fight Kyle MacLachlan.
Here's a couple things about. Actually, we have a chance. He owns a winery in Walla Walla called Chased by a Bear. And I'm in Walla Walla quite often because Kate's family is there. So I'm like, one of these days, I think. Hopefully we just cross paths.
Hey, we're big Dune heads.
Big Dune heads.
Could we get you?
We both connect over giving up editing rights, like not wanting to give up editing rights. That's why Dune sucked. So here's what I'm going to say about David Lynch. First season of Twin Peaks, incredible.
Phenomenal.
Second season,
amazing.
A little wild.
Good.
What I like most about him as a storyteller and a filmmaker is he trusts the audience to interpret his stuff however they want, right? I even was reading, this is not even a filmmaking like comment, but I was reading because I wanted to know how he died and all that stuff. And the guy was like, somehow he got into politics. The writer, obviously, because he works for probably a liberal media thing, and he said Trump could go down as the greatest president ever. He goes, and you can interpret that in many different ways. I'm like, well,
wait, David Lynch said that?
Yeah, like, and his point, I think, is
that's funny.
Like he's not afraid to do anything. Like he will go and do the things that he said, and so. You will look back and potentially say he was the greatest president ever. I think it's a commentary more on the personality of who we directed rather than political ideology. But the point is that he says things in that he believes and is convicted by, and then has no conviction to need to explain it, right? I was reading his book and he was like, I was reading in my Bible and a verse popped out to me and that was what inspired the movie Eraserhead. And I go, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I'm like, turn the page. What? And he goes, I don't think I'll ever tell anybody what that Bible verse was. I go, come on, Dave.
That's really cool. I like that. I like the mystique.
Yeah. Right.
I was real ticked when I finished Twin Peaks.
Okay. So I think
because I was like, someone was like, if you asked David Lynch what the show was about, he would tell you, if you're looking for a show that has a clear point, this is not the show for you. And I was like, well,
true.
So what you're essentially saying is, if you're looking for a story,
Yeah.
I'm not a storyteller. Great. Okay, cool. Well, you got paid to tell us a story, and you did.
I think that sometimes that sort of like visionary sort of directing leads to some swings and misses.
Just crazy.
And I think it happened in Lost too, right? Like where, listen, I'm a huge J.J. Abrams fan. Like even though he like destroyed Star Wars, you know, it's fine. It's fine. He's done a lot of other really good stuff. And the first 2 seasons of Lost,
J.J. Abrams,
crazy good. Like it's crazy good. It's building up mystery. You know, you're into all the characters. Then it keeps going, and you're like, dude, what are you trying? He's trying so hard not to explain the mystery that you're like, this is stupid.
Well,
last 3 episodes.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say last 3-4 episodes of Twin Peaks is that.
Yeah. It's I think if they had just let the show go on and there had never been a culmination, it probably would have continued being really, really riveting and really, really engaging. And just, I think it's just it's a serial. Like that's the point of a serial, like a comic book. Is the point is not the plot. The point is, who are the characters? How do the characters act? What affects the characters? It's a serial, so it never stops.
Keeps
it
going,
it always continues going, so it doesn't matter what the plot is. You're reading it because you're interested in the characters. And I think if it had been able to be a serial for 20 seasons, I think I don't want to spoil the show. The hard thing for me was,
it came out in the 90s, so
such a depressing ending.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That was tough.
But I saw that, like, I thought that immediately when we started getting into season 2. I was like, this is really, like, Lost must have, it's very Lost-esque. And then I read about it, and J.J. Abrams cited David Lynch and Twin Peaks as like one of his huge influences.
For sure.
So I think it's probably like
I think a lot of directors, right, are like, I think Lynch was definitely a huge influencer on a lot of like modern directors that I like. I didn't see like Robert Eggers say anything about it, but Eggers kind of gives me a bit of like Lynch vibe that you can kind of, it's like kind of noir, kind of horror. I mean, Eggers is like straight up horror, but like noir horror, you're kind of bouncing through all these different things. And then like what I like about David Lynch is that you also have like quirkiness and like eccentricities. Yeah. And
the stylized stuff in Twin Peaks is so good. What's the girl who heard anyway, the girl whose dad owns the hotel, whatever, her girl with the short dark hair. All of her scenes in the first season are so cool. Like they're just like these weird stylized moments with crazy music and like just her being interesting on screen. For sure. I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark again for the first time since I was a kid last week. Yeah, it was never like, I like fight choreography. Yeah. I like action movies with a lot of action. Raiders of the Lost Ark is genius.
So good.
I've always thought as an adult, why don't I remember more lines and more dialogue from that movie? And I rewatched it and I was like, because this movie's got 2 pages of dialogue. Yeah. It is 2 hours and it's 90 minutes of action sequences and 30 minutes tops of character.
I would say probably the only like memorable lines are really from the girl, like the love interest. Like she's funny.
She's great.
Marion.
Yep.
What is it?
Marion.
Yeah.
Marion.
Shia LaBeouf's mom.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, no, I agree. It's just like, I mean, the first 30 minutes is, or 20 minutes, whatever, like is him doing the whole, like getting the idol from the cave and running away from the boulder. And it's such a sick scene.
Getting Alfred Molina killed.
It's amazing.
Right. And,
dude, yeah. Alfred Molina. I didn't realize that was Alfred Molina. That's awesome.
Yeah. So good. And just also too, like, cause I enjoyed fishing like I still do, but the guy in the plane, he's fishing and he has one on and he sees the natives like running like blow darts and he's just like he has to make the decision like, am I going to give up on this fish? Or like, let me just reel this in really quick and then I'll start the plane. And you can see the genuine, and I will tell you, that is 100% a true like thing. You go, okay, I see that they're over the hill and I'm going to wait until the very last second. Anyway, yeah, super good.
That's cool.
So anyway.
I love that like 50 years ago, fishing was like America's number 2 pastime.
Bro.
It was baseball. And then fishing. Because a whole generation just grows up like, what do? We go to the pond.
That's a great point. You go, how can I connect with my dad? I'm going to have a catch or we're going to go fishing.
I'm going to have a catch.
It's like Field of Dreams and Opie Taylor. Like that Andy Griffith. They're like walking, going to the fishing hole.
Legit. Yeah. Sorry.
So R.I.P. David Lynch.
If your dad doesn't love you, you probably aren't good at baseball.
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I will say this. This is an interesting thing. So he died, I think, just a month or two shy of his 78th birthday party.
I thought it was 79.
79? So maybe he died at 70. He's in his late 70s.
I thought it was 89.
It's not.
He said he died 78 years old. So it would
I read somewhere that he was 179.
He's been making movies since the beginning of. He actually gave. What's his name? The idea for the phonograph that led to movies. Not the phonograph.
That's really funny.
Oh man, who's a light bulb?
I'm not laughing.
Edison created the thing that led. He created the phonograph, but then he created the thing that takes pictures that led to the movie industry. There's a great short story by Simon Rich about that moment, and he takes the picture, right, of the moving picture. And it's like a 5-second clip of this guy just standing there. And so the reporters start asking Edison the questions like, how'd you come up with this invention? This is crazy. And then they notice the actor or the guy standing there and they go, oh, are you the one in the picture? Like, how did you, that was incredible. And Edison's like, I'm the one who like made it, created it. And they go, yeah, that's cool. But like, how did you, like, what's your method? And he goes, I don't know. I just kind of stood there. And they go, so you just like became that? Like, and it's this whole thing of like giving the actor way too much credit.
What was your pathos? What was the pathos? Why would you say your character stood up and not sat down?
It's so funny. It's a great short story. But okay, so David Lynch died upper 70s. And he's kind of famous for saying like, coffee, cigarettes, candy. Those are like the 3 things that like drive him, right? And then he died of emphysema. No,
dehydration. He forgot to put water in.
Oh yeah. Not emphysema. That's the dry skin.
It's something like that. Yeah, I was reading
it is eczema's dry skin. He did die of emphysema.
Yeah. Yes. So he was like
died of emphysema.
He was like housebound for the last few years and like on oxygen. He said if he walks a short distance, like he has oxygen. But he said like, hey man, when I was like young and like through my entire creative career, I loved creating, going like having a smoke, looking at what I've created. And like pondering it and having those moments. And he goes, I really, really enjoyed it. But in the end, it's what got me.
Emphysema.
Yeah. So
airfield enlargement in the body tissue.
So here's my question. I know probably every old person would say, I'd take another 5 years with my kids or whatever, then do the thing. But he's like, in the end, it's the thing that got me. I go, you lasted till your upper 70s, which is a decent run. So if you enjoy coffee, cigarettes, and candy, is it a fair trade? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to.
You're gonna die. I mean, you're gonna die. I'm a pretty careful person. I try to take good care of myself.
Yeah,
but like. At the end of the day, you are going to die. It's the state you leave your family in when you die is important. I think it's hard for people it's hard for people to grieve, period.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you decide to live your life, you know things you're doing could kill you, but you live your life the way that you intend to live your life. I just don't know what else you can do. It's selfish if you have people. I think there's like two categories for me. One category is things that you do as coping mechanisms that are very difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
And one is just poor decisions you make because you're lazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's a Venn diagram and I don't know how, they're all kind of intermixed.
Yeah.
There, right. But I would say things that you just don't like to do because you're lazy and selfish, those things you should stop doing.
Yeah.
Things that you do because they're coping mechanisms, you should try to stop doing them. But at the end of the day, like I'm not trying to say like coping mechanisms are just a hall pass to do stupid things, but it's hard. It's very
obviously
hard to
there's like
them.
lesser evils. I was just talking about this with someone that like you go to like a Narcotics Anonymous or whatever, and all those guys are like chain smoking cigarettes, right? And you go, you know what? We'll give you cigarettes if you
to
quit
get you
meth.
off of meth.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we'll take
Not a bad
we'll
trade.
take that, right?
Yeah.
So there is, when you say like coping mechanisms, there's some coping mechanisms that you're like, yeah, you should keep doing that because it's really not, it's maybe not still the healthiest that you could be, but it's quite a bit healthier than meth, right?
What we're
Yeah.
doing? Yeah.
And obviously a lifetime smoker making it to upper 70s or early 80s is a better run than a lot of people have for smoking cigarettes. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like I am like, if you smoke cigarettes because like that kind of helps you think when you're editing screenplays or whatever.
As long as you know it's going to kill you.
Yeah,
like
right.
If you're informed, if you're like, this can't kill me, I'm like, well,
I think that there's also
can and it will.
I think there's also kind of different. I literally just wrote this scene where one of the skateboarders like smokes a cigarette. I've decided all my characters, there will be at least one that smokes a cigarette.
I like
purely one because
to
it's
help
cool.
Kids understand how cool it is.
Well, and to help them understand that vaping is stupid. It's so stupid. You look like a nerd. And I don't mean that in a nice way.
In a good way.
Yeah. Like
a
so
bad
that's
nerd.
I go, would a skateboarder of today probably vape? Yeah, but not my character.
Should they?
My character's gonna smoke cigarettes. So
You should have one vape and then die immediately.
Oh, that's a great point because like you have to like commit a sin.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
great.
really genius.
Nicely done, Ben. But
That's why I'm here.
Have a character that's like looking for a vape the whole book, right? He's like, I just need a vape, and then he finally gets it and dies.
Yeah,
Ben, you're a genius.
yeah, that's the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not vape, because you look like a loser. But the security guard, he's like an overweight guy. He goes, hey, you really shouldn't smoke cigarettes. And then like the character's like inner thoughts are like, well, you shouldn't eat like double cheeseburgers every day, but doesn't seem like you're giving that up. It's like, who are you to tell me I can't smoke when you're like you're
Get
like,
the log out of your eye.
Yeah, right. Like eating terribly. And I can't
Take the cheese log out of your eye.
I can't fault that either because I eat a lot of red meat and carbs. I love it, man. It's it's
Bro,
good. It really helps me think when I'm editing.
My dad was a personal trainer, and he was not known in my childhood for his patience and grace with other adults. That was not one of his hallmarks. He's a very nice guy, loves me very much. Patience and grace were not the things he was known for. So he was pretty harsh about the idea of like not taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I always honestly was kind of annoyed with like pastors because I didn't grow up like going to church with my dad, really. And so I was like always like, why are these pastors like, my dad doesn't respect these men. He won't go to church because these pastors look like slobs. In that, I know that's wrong, but that's what I thought. And then even like as a young adult, I was like, I don't know. I exercise. I don't eat like all the time. Like, I feel like if you're a pastor, you should take care of yourself.
Sure.
As a husband, you should take care of yourself, and all these things that not everyone has the same capacity for. And now that I'm a pastor and I planted a church and I'm like in the lead seat of pastoring our church, I understand why pastors are overweight. I eat emotionally. Like sometimes I get done with the day and all I want is freaking ice cream and French fries because it's like all of the emotional baggage of the day. I just want to eat so bad. And so for the first time in my life, I'm like, okay, I get it. You know what, guys? Eat your hearts out. Just clog up those arteries because we got to get through this thing somehow.
Enjoy your life.
What about the pastors who are like yoked, just like super ripped, like a Craig Rochelle, a Stephen Furtick?
Yeah. I go, you should spend some more time studying your Bible instead of being at the gym the entire day.
I think I see pastors oftentimes now who are obviously juicing, whether it's like heavy TRT treatments or other, like some guys that I see are very obviously enhanced. Like you can't get that big, that ripped, that old.
Yeah.
Over 50 years old, 6-pack. 20-inch arms. You're not natural. That's weird to me. That's a weird kind of vanity.
Yeah.
To be a 50-year-old man and you need to look like a 20-year-old bodybuilder, and so you're spending thousands of dollars a month on PEDs.
There's a difference between taking care of yourself and taking it to the next level of like
being obsessed with your image.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a balance.
Definitely coming from a bad place. Coming from a place of hurt.
There's a balance. There is,
in all things.
Have been working out with Ben.
Attention. Whoa!
Really? At Planet Fitness. I appreciate they've got a huge bowl of Tootsie Rolls that I can take a handful of. We do pizza parties every Friday night.
Fatness.
Fatness.
Just kidding.
I'm already down like 3 pounds.
And
I really haven't changed a whole lot, like dietary wise. I've kind of tightened up a little bit.
Just had a large bowel movement.
Yeah. So, but that's my goal is like, I kind of want to get to like a certain place and then like a good maintain weight. I'm like, if I don't have to like diet and I work out, semi regularly, I can just maintain that.
Fast forward this podcast 2 years, Jesse's neck is bulging out of
NewWayStories is just natural bodybuilding.
It's just a fitness.
We're doing a rebrand. This is all about feeling as good, looking as good on the outside as you feel on the inside.
Kate's writing him testosterone scripts, and he's just juiced to the max.
There is
working out with my dad,
dude. I listen to sports radio, so you get some advertisements that are directed towards men.
Yeah.
And it was like this. It was like a X37 or something like that, or X47, I think is what it was called. And it's a topical cream that you put on your nethers. And then apparently it works in 47 seconds, which is a very specific number. And they go, this is like terrifying. The little blue pill, but on steroids. And I go, have you put steroids in the little blue pill? And then you just rub it on your ding dong? Is that? And then also, is the pill actually, or the cream working? Or are you just, they've just rebranded Jergen's lotion and they go, you don't believe how well this works.
No.
Zero comment.
47 seconds is such a specific number. They go, you won't believe how, and then it
47 for our 47th president.
Dude, and then it's always like all these like testosterone pills and stuff. It's like, hey, you're over 40, low T. It might be a thing. He goes, what are you talking about? It might be a thing. He goes, yeah, you start to lose testosterone over 40. A little bit of a gut, right? You feel sluggish. You go, get this pill,
X47.
He goes, oh, they're still doing free samples of that. You go, you've never heard of the low testosterone problem, but you're aware of the free samples that Nugenics is giving out? And he goes, you'll feel better, more energy, and hey, the wife won't mind it either. That's like always the ending. They go, You know, it'll pick up your performance in the gym and at work and in the bedroom. And you go, I think I need Nugenics.
I love that.
My wife's
that,
been complaining a lot.
I was going to say, I love that's the general idea that men perpetuate with each other.
Yeah.
That their wives are like, gosh, I just wish that we could do it more.
I was going to say, especially after 40, I think the wife is like, thank God there's low T in the world because I am done.
I am tapping out.
You know, we have kids already, right? We don't have to keep doing this.
She's been like telling him that she wants to go to counseling for years. And all he's hearing is, oh man, if only I had X47. He walks into the bedroom, takes his towel
We don't
off.
need that.
He's lotioned up. And she's like, Bill, what is wrong with you? He's like, I thought that you wanted this. And she's like, I wanted you to care about my mother.
I wanted emotional connection. He goes, I'll show you emotional connection. Thanks, X47.
I'm about to connect with
Cheats
you
to the camera.
That's like,
I do.
I saw this.
You have to do that.
I saw this. No, go for it. You do your thing first.
Obviously, I've never needed X47, but I did invent it.
I saw this cartoon, right? Golfers, you always want to drive the ball further, straighter. That's like the thing, right? And so there's this.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
Exactly. There's this cartoon, 2 windows. One is golf lessons. Nobody's in line.
Yep.
The other one is new driver. And the line is like super full, right?
Classic, yep.
Right. That is in the nutshell the low T thing. You go, hey, do you want like a more fulfilling, healthier marriage? Like you could go to marriage counseling, like have like deep conversations, connect with your wife emotionally.
Yeah.
That's the empty window. And then the full window is X47 or Blue Emu or whatever. That's good stuff.
Great stuff.
Okay, what a way to wrap up a podcast, I think.
I think that was our best episode.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Last thing I want to say, then we'll get off here. The Golden Globes happened last week, and we had Christian on, which if you guys enjoyed that episode, let me know. It was so fun for us to have kind of a different pace, and I'm sorry, this one has been very heavy on Jesse and Darius compared to the last one. But we're back.
I'm sorry that we're doing our podcast.
Well, I immediately
please forgive us.
we just apologize after every episode. Yeah. And if you're still here, I'm so sorry.
And I would also like to apologize for my privilege as well.
Thank you. It's been a bit since you've said that.
You apologize for it.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So Adrian Brody. Not Brody. That's
an actor.
CW. What's his name? Shoot. No. Adam Brody. It is Adrian Brody.
Adam Brody. Adrian Brody's the pianist.
The pianist and the brutalist.
Adam Brody's
CW. Yeah. Adrian Brody. I was right.
Yes. You were correct.
I was correct. His film won the best picture called The Brutalist.
Jeez.
And
I didn't even know it was in a movie.
So it's called The Brutalist. Guess how long the runtime is?
4 hours and 10 minutes.
Pretty close. 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Jeez.
Which I thought, what a good title for that film. That is brutal. Like, I love film. I love film more than the next person. But like, if I have to like carve out an entire afternoon to watch a movie, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Somewhere at an undisclosed location.
Yeah, you have
in the Middle East. There's a captain in the military right now going, I hope you're ready to watch this movie because you're never getting out of this camp. You ain't never gonna get out of this until you tell me where is El Zarqawi. They caught Zarqawi like 20 years ago.
Just playing that on repeat. I think I think it's Duran Duran. Maybe I've told this on the podcast before, but Hungry Like the Wolf. Duran. Ben, look it up really quick so I don't look like an idiot.
It's Duran Duran. It's Duran Duran.
It is Duran Duran?
Duran times 2. It's double Duran.
So they were asking the lead singer his greatest accomplishment in music because they've been around for so long. And Hungry Like the Wolf, he goes, actually, I have done a lot. We've kind of been all over. The thing that stands out to me the most is that there was a hostage situation in South America, and in order to get the hostages out safely, they blared "Hungry Like the Wolf" for like 12 hours straight. And then the hostage, like the guy who's keeping the hostages, finally broke and was like, I can't take it anymore. Take the hostages. It's fine. And he goes, I think
12 hours is a long time.
He goes, I think that's my biggest my biggest accomplishment.
That's amazing.
That's incredible. It's
something
to strive for, you know? It's probably only like 3.5 minutes, if that.
So okay, so 12 hours. Okay, wait. I'm gonna do.
Boy, this is gonna take 12 hours for Ben to figure out this math.
It is. How many?
25 times 12. 10 times 12 is 250 times 250. I mean, it's like 275 times they played it.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of times.
In between, almost 300 times. Man, okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. It was kind of a scattered one, kind of a fun. Go to the YouTube page, watch the Bibleman episode. It's all about the fibbler.
Absolutely.
Yes. New Way Stories, one word, New Way Stories podcast.
New Way Stories podcast, YouTube. You can like, subscribe, do all that stuff on Spotify and or Apple Music, whatever. Tell your friends about us, all that good stuff. Or don't do any of that. And we'll see you next week.
I'd like to see you try.
I'd like to see you try.